Hello and thanks for joining us for the Midday News. Police conducted a one-week awareness program on the sale and production of homebrew at Hanuabada village this week. The joint awareness exercise run by police units from NCD and Motu-Koita Police Reservist Unit and leaders of Hanuabada ends today. The purpose of the awareness is to inform the general public and the people of Hanuabada that there will be an enforcement team carrying out arrest and those involved in the production, sale and distribution of the illicit spirit. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika said police service to Hanuabada had been cut off since 2014 following a police shooting case that resulted in the death of 2 men. This case has been resolved and perpetrators arrested and charged. Sika said with that out of the way, Hanuabada must allow police service into the village. Meantime, awareness is underway. Homebrew consumption continues to give rise to law and order issues in the big village and must be addressed lawfully. There is no new cost to the reworks at the Kagamuga Airport runway. The current works fall within the defects liability period and the cost of the covered by the previous contractor. This was the assurance given by the National Airports Corporation as the public continue to demand awareness as to who meets the cost of the maintenance works that has been carried out just a few months after the completion of a prevalent upgrade by SR Project PNG Limited. Monies to fund the reworks will come from the performance bond retained by NAC under the CDIP2 project. East PAC will repair the 180 meters runway and is expected to have it done by mid-November depending on the prevailing weather conditions. The original pavement upgrade work by SR PNG Limited was funded under Tense 2 of the ABD-funded CADIP at 130 million kina. Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso said the new aircraft presented to the PNG Defence Force will be utilized to train young pilots in preparation to operate similar aircraft in future. Rosso said pilots will also be trained to use the aircraft to reach PNG's border mainly to combat illegal activities such as smuggling of drugs that is one of the rise in the country. He said this is to ensure the border regional security is secure as Papua New Guinea plays a central role in maintaining stability in the Pacific.
50 is for the training of our young pilots, so that in preparation for future aircraft that we might acquire. Also, it's for insertion into stall airfields, like in short remote airfields on our borders, in search and rescue, in surveillance for unregulated illegal fishing boats. Also it will assist us in fishery surveillance, it will assist us in
Local communities along the Purari River in Gulf Province have been greatly affected by the recent flooding and kin tides, destroying arable farming land, clean drinking water and land for shelter. Josephine Keaya from Apoye describes and said when the flood came, mothers struggled to find fish because the current was too fast and they couldn't collect sago because water was too dirty towards the stars. Josephine said any food garden they kept has long been flooded or washed away. In response, Papua LNG launched a disaster relief mission to assist villagers in its area of influence with food rations and medicine. In coordination with the Gulf Provincial Authority, PNG LNG will also be providing relief medical supplies to communities outside its area of influence. The mission belongs to Apoyope village at the mouth of the Purari flood rations, and medical supplies will be handed over to a community health worker based at health center in the village. The mission commenced with awareness on Tuesday, 1st November 2023. In regional news, what do you do when you've invested millions into growing, packing and marketing, but it's no longer profitable? For one pair of fifth-generation farming brothers, the pressure was on to make the right decision to not only honor previous generations, but also ensuring the sixth a bright future.
The Moon family farm near St George, 500 kilometres west of Brisbane. Back in 2000, worries over the uncertainty of irrigation water prompted a move out of cotton into rock melons.
In the beginning, the Moons had a small shed producing up to 2,000 boxes per day. Since then, a $2 million state-of-the-art packing shed has increased production to 7,000 boxes per day. That equates to 7 semi-trailer loads.
Now they've switched again. Rock melons were good to them, but the weather wasn't.
We were always under the pump because of the weather. If we had a lot of sunshine one week, then we picked a whole lot of melons and we had to sell them that week.
Now they're growing onions and garlic, which, unlike melons, can be stored for months. Fifth-generation farmers, brothers Andrew and David, complement each other. Andrew does the marketing, David's boss in the paddock. Andrew is the pessimist, David the optimist.
If I'm not happy with something David's doing, I'll tell him, and vice versa. But we don't carry on, you know. We have a job to do, we're busy, we don't have time to argue.
The Moon brothers didn't want to talk hectares or tonnage, but they grow enough onions, red, brown and white, to keep this packing shed running all year round. The harvest lasts 4 months for onions, and at its peak, the shed's running 7 days a week.
Garlic is a higher value crop, but it's expensive to grow. So when a major customer asked them to grow it,
We sort of basically said no, don't be stupid at the start, because we'd already trialled it and we were pretty confident it wouldn't grow here, and then we stumbled on a variety that worked for this area.
It is just a bastard to grow, basically. It is not easy to grow. It is our hardest crop that we've ever grown by a long shot, to get it through to a marketable place.
I reckon learning to grow garlic, we've lost way more than we've earned so far.
the expense is due to hand weeding and hand harvesting. Andrew estimates garlic is handled up to 20 times before it makes it to a retail shelf. The biggest deterrent to growing at scale is the seed.
If we want to grow 400 tonnes of garlic, we need roughly 40 tonnes of seed.
And seed is a clove.
The seed is a clove, so it's a clove from last year's crop. So we have to look after that between last year's crop and this year's crop. It comes down to how much seed you can keep, how good of a year you've had, and it's our most expensive seed because we have to value it per kilo the same as we would get if we sold it.
South Australian public school teachers are threatening to go on strike next Thursday if their demands for better pay and conditions are not met.
83% of teachers involved in the Education Union voted in favour of taking a strike next Thursday if their demands cannot be met by the state government. At the moment, they have a deal on the table, a 9% increase over a 3-year period, including a one-off payment. The Education Union is saying that that is not enough. They've said that teachers have not had a pay rise in 18 months. And considering the economic environment at the moment, the union is saying that that deal by the state government is simply insufficient. The union have given the government until Monday to come up with a better deal, one that they're saying is more suitable for the teachers. And if they don't come up with that better deal by Monday, that's when they will go ahead with this strike on Thursday. The government have said that it is disappointing that the union is potentially taking strike next Thursday, particularly considering Year 12 exams are currently happening. The union says that the students involved in those exams won't be affected if this strike does take place. The government have said that they will be working and are committed to delivering a revised and improved option for the education unions, and which they will be delivering to them on Monday. So all eyes, no doubt, we'll be keeping an eye on Monday and deciding to see whether the teachers will be taking strike.
The Northern Territory's overcrowded prison system has been under the microscope in the coroner's court today. The Commissioner revealing stretched resources and understaffing has meant some prisoners are unable to access rehabilitation programs. Despite an injection of the millions of dollars and a vow to improve the system, the Corrections Commander says his fears it won't be enough.
Fronting the coroner and vowing to do better, the boss of the Territory's correction system painted a picture of life behind the wire. The Alice Springs Correctional Centre has capacity for 680 prisoners. Today, it's full. In Darwin, where there's space for 1,337 prisoners, there's 1,333, plus another 52 sentenced prisoners being held in police watch houses. More than half of those behind bars are there because of domestic violence. The Commissioner said both prisons are being renovated to increase capacity and that if he could close the watch houses tomorrow, he would. But the number of prisoners in the Territory, predominantly Indigenous, is predicted to keep growing. The Commissioner telling the court ultimately intervention is needed before someone lands in jail. There needs to be a shift in the community's thinking and behavioural approach of men towards women. Each of the men who killed the 4 women at the centre of the coroner's inquiry had prior convictions for violence and had spent time in Territory prisons. Some had access to the rehabilitation programs, others didn't. The coroner has previously told the court the prison system doesn't appear to be working. Commissioner Varley conceded more resources are critical. I don't know what the number is, but others have called for needs-based funding, and I can't think of a better example of the need. Also backing the cry for needs-based funding for a jurisdiction with the highest rates of domestic and family violence in the country and the lowest share of the national money pool is those on the front line, whose critical services are constantly overwhelmed. When we turn women away, we turn them away with the knowledge that they might not come back to us. The evidence before the coroner has a consistent theme. For frontline services, there's not enough money to keep women safe.
The University of Auckland and the Auckland University of Technology have shown interest in building partnership with universities in Papua New Guinea. This follows the recent visit to Auckland by the winning team of the 2023 Lutawenge debate competition. The week-long engagement was a meaningful engagement, including activities such as panel discussions, campus tours and cultural activities. The UOA Pro-Vice-Chancellor Professor Jemima Tiatia Siau indicated that the UOA wishes to establish a long-term partnership with the University of Papua New Guinea through this opportunity. This is a first-of-its-kind opportunity where a student-led initiative has seen international engagement and partnership between PNG and UOA, and there is hope for more meaningful international engagement so that PNG students can have much-needed exposure to international universities. That's all for now. Do join us this evening at 6 for the main news. Bye now.